Yeah, we're all ready.
Okay, so we've just started the seminar, so people are just starting to come in. Hi everyone.
Hi. This way we've got to behave, Emma.
At least for the first 5 minutes, Jed, and then people can always click off then after that. We just give people a minute to come through.
No, you're not seeing anybody, isn't it? Like playing football to no audience.
It's a bit strange.
Yeah, well.
It's a bit strange.
I must think I'm a bit strange.
This will be the giddiest, liveliest seminar we've done, I think, so far.
Why do you think that?
I don't know, I just have a feeling. You know me, I'm very sensitive.
Everybody out there in Zoom land.
So if anybody wants to say hello back to us, you can go to the bottom of your screen, you can go into chat, and you can send us a little message from chat. I'll give everyone, maybe that's everyone we're going to get for now, so I think we will make a start. So hello everyone, welcome to a Conversations with our wonderful creatives, our wonderful online creatives. My name is Emma Smith, I'm the project manager for Empowered Conversations. I'm going to just quickly introduce you to everyone, but they're going to tell us a bit more about themselves in a second. So we've got Barbara, give us a wave, Barbara. Margaret, give us a wave, Margaret. Rachel, DJ Jed, and we've got Becky. So this is the first time that we've brought all of these wonderful people together. So let me tell you a little bit about Empowered Conversations, and then we will get started with today's seminar, if that's okay. So Empowered Conversations deliver communication training across Greater Manchester for carers and professionals who want to improve their connections with people with dementia. We also deliver a project called Empowered Carers, which offers one-to-one support for family carers in Salford. And for the last 6 months, maybe 7 months now, we've been delivering Empowered Online. So this has been our response to COVID, where we've been very aware that people affected by dementia, their normal day-to-day life has been very, very much different. So what we've done is try to put some different things into the week, just to have people have something to look forward to. And the people that you've got on the screen today are some of the amazing people who have sort of thrown their hat into the ring and said, yeah, we'll have a go, we'll do some of this online stuff. I'm absolutely massively grateful for their energy and commitment for giving it a go. So today what we're hoping to do is to share with you some stories, some of our successes, some of our things that haven't worked as well. So we'll be sharing some tips with you about delivering sessions online. And then hopefully we'll be having a conversation with you. So the audience that we've got today is a mix of people affected by dementia, researchers, some practitioners across Greater Manchester and beyond. I think we've gone a bit broader. A long time ago. Thank you, DJ. So at the bottom of your screen, if you haven't been on a seminar before, it's perfectly right that you only see us, you won't see yourself. So I'm sorry if you've spent a lot of time on your hair today. It's entirely wasted. As you can see, Jed has spent hours and hours on his hair. There we go. That's the DJ Jed that we love and know. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see something called a Q&A. So if at any point you have a question, rather than keep it in your head, just type it in there. And at the end of our discussions, we'll have a Q&A with you all. So as you're starting to think of questions, throw them in there. I'm just going to go. Some of you have found the chat function already. We've got a hello from Jen. Hi, Jen. Oh, we've got a hello from Ali. So we're in Wales as well, everyone.
Oh.
Jed, you've lost your hair. That's from Joy. Oh, sorry, right. That was your response. Okay.
Yes.
So,
thank you, Joy. Get you back.
So I keep saying it, but this is definitely going to be a very giddy seminar, which is good, and that's what it should be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite everybody just to spend a few minutes just telling us a little bit about what their work life used to look like before COVID, and that sort of starts to paint the picture of what they've all been delivering for us during lockdown. So if I may, I'm going to start with Jed, DJ Jed.
You would, wouldn't you?
what was work life?
Yeah, before COVID, I mean, I retired when I was 65. And after I retired, I decided I wasn't going to put my feet up, put my slippers on. So I joined Miles Platting Age Friendly to help out with local events and ideas to help older people. And immediately I joined Miles Platting Age Friendly. They had an open day at Manchester Metropolitan University, and one of the committee members had a, for want of a better word, a stall there. So I said, yeah, I'll go along. So I went along to this open day at the MMU, and had a big flip chart asking for people's ideas on how they can improve life for older people. So me thinking, well, I'm not in Manchester seeing much to do with older people having like a night out for a dance or a general get-together. So I put on the sheet, how about a golden oldies night, with a DJ? And so to cut a long story short, Miles Platting Age Friendly, because they knew I was interested in records and CDs and everything, and I had been a DJ in the 70s. I know I don't look that old, but in the 70s I ran a disco until the early 80s. And next thing I knew, they said, well, would you like a grant for some DJ equipment? So I thought, oh, probably good to get me a little hi-fi set or something, but no, they said, get proper speakers, amplifier and blah, blah, blah. And they did. Got a grant for all proper disco equipment and set it up, and by word of mouth, well, before lockdown, I was going around doing discos at housing associations, private homes, dementia groups, helping out, just playing golden oldies, and it's very rewarding. Not in a monetary sense. I mean, I don't get a lot for it, I must admit, but it's great to see people enjoying themselves still. That's how I started off, and my other things, I do crafts. I had a radio station for a while, and I'm still waiting to hear about that because that's been affected by lockdown as well. So I've kept myself busy since retirement. In fact, I've been busier since I retired than what I was before, I think. Yeah, so keep active.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jed. That was a fabulous introduction. So I'm going to go over to Becky at Lower House Sensory Farm. There's a clue in the title.
Oh, hello everybody. Lovely to be with the panellists, and although we can't see anybody on the other side, but hello to you all. So I'm Becky. I live at Lower House Farm, which is a small holding that we've lived on for about 14 years, I think it is. So before the lockdown situation occurred, I actually started Lower House Sensory Farm. And we created a dementia-friendly space that we provide outdoor activities, generally farm-based activities for people with dementia, living with dementia, and their carers. We also provided sessions for school children, so we had local schools coming up. Young adult learners with learning disabilities have had a visit here. And basically, we've had a brilliant time just getting stuck in, working with the animals, gardening, pony care, socialising. And we did a few garden parties, so just invite a load of people in and just come along and enjoy yourselves, afternoon teas, care homes as well. So generally anybody really who needs care at home, has daycare, goes to daycare or lives in residential care, is welcome to come along. So we did a music day as well. There was a BBC Music Day last year, so we, in conjunction with that, and I had a friend who plays a harp, which was absolutely beautiful. We have a piano in the room that we're sat in now. This is called the Bothy. So it's a room we've built into a barn. And we have a piano in there. So basically we had quite an active weekly sessions, people, bit of a free-for-all, generally get stuck in, have a great time, whether it's even cleaning the hens out or collecting the eggs. But primarily is really coming along and having the feeling of being part of something and a sense of purpose. And there's no judgment at all. It's, you know, you come along to enjoy yourself, really. So like Jed, absolutely, it's not a financial gain at all. It's really, I have a personal experience of dementia and vascular dementia and Alzheimer's. So we've kind of had to go through a caring process that way, and I learned very much so that being outdoors is an incredible tonic for people's health, mental well-being, mood, stimulus, everything. So on the back of that, really, that's why we decided to go down and create Lower House Sensory Farm. So that's where we are. So I'm based in Lancashire, more sort of North Lancashire, very much on the border of Cumbria and Yorkshire, actually. So 5 minutes I can go to both different counties. So that's my story.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Becky. And I'm going to go to Rachel next, if I may.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm Rachel. So I work as a freelance workshop facilitator. So I was quite busy doing stuff all over the place before lockdown, traveling here, there, and everywhere. And then I work for the Storybox project with Small Things Creative, and so we were delivering lots of different sessions. So we go into care homes, we've done sessions in libraries, we were doing one in Bury Art Museum, hospitals, residential settings, wherever we will go, wherever we're asked to go, really, in a sense. And our sessions are all about creative participation and about being present and in the moment. And we always use like a collaborative story making, like as a starting point, if you like. So we would have sessions, we'd all be sat in a group in a circle and taking ideas from a theme and just kind of seeing what happens when we go from there. Yeah, it's a lot of our work is about like imagination, say being present in the moment, yeah, general kind of creative fun in an hour. And we'll do writing, we might write some poems, we'll sing a song, we'll do role play, anything creative. We'll kind of throw it into a session and give it a go, really. Yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell, really.
That's great. Thank you, Rachel. Now I'm going over to Barbara and Margaret, who are going to do theirs as a double act, I think, maybe, or maybe take it in turns.
Margaret will go first because mine follows hers.
Might as well then.
Right.
Hello. It's good to be able to come and talk about the Come and Sing group that Barbara and I have been facilitating on Zoom since April. Immediately before lockdown, I'd been working as a music therapist, mainly with people with dementia and their carers. And I'd been involved with Emma and the team at Empowered Conversations, facilitating sessions with carers for people with dementia, where we explore ways of maintaining meaningful communication. And Barbara and I, together with our colleague Claire, have been working on an exciting project using music and actions as ways of sustaining communications when words become less useful. So Barbara and I were delighted to be offered the chance to hold a Zoom session involving singing and chat to support carers and people with dementia. Brilliant opportunity. So our aim was to provide a safe space for carers and people with dementia to share music and conversation. The session needed to be accessible for everyone and include opportunities for fun, but also learning and reflection, depending on the situation. We also wanted to include some exercises and coordination games because it's so easy to just sit in front of the screen and become stiff and inactive. We've got had experiences running that sort of session, many of the same features, but never before April on Zoom. So the size group we usually work with is about 9 screens. It's funny how you now talk about screens worth, don't you? A meeting is in 9 screens and 12 people. So it's about 6 people with their own screens and 3 couples sharing screens. And we meet on Zoom once a week on Friday afternoons for about an hour. And the shape of the session is held by Barbara and myself. So
Not guilty.
Can't get the
He's trying
stuff.
to phone someone. Who's trying to phone us? Hello?
do you know, I'm always so relieved when it's not mine. I should be off. It's not
You-
mine. I'm going to
It'll be you in a second, Margaret. You just wait.
Mine's in another room.
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
Very professional.
Very professional.
The shape of the session is held by Barbara and myself. So we gather the group together at the beginning and then we have a warm-up to help relax tired muscles and stressed minds. We also use activities with songs to encourage coordination, and this provides a challenge for all of us and is often accompanied by laughter, especially when the song or actions are expanded by the group. We have a slot for members to play an instrument they've brought to the session. And we've enjoyed a video of a friend of one of the session people playing a Hawaiian guitar, which has got 3 necks to it, and a guest artiste who brought her sax and played while popping in to visit her parents. But the main body of the session has developed into a theme for the week, usually chosen by the group with lots of suggestions for songs. And Barbara and I are entrusted with the task of producing a shortlist for the next week. And we add to that so that we've got a true mix of musical styles across the centuries and across the globe. The songs in the theme part are usually pre-recorded and played with everybody muted so that the audio sound is at its best and everyone can sing as loud as they want to without worrying. If we put up words on screen to songs as we sing them, they can be a real eye-opener. I don't know whether you paid attention to words more in Zoom sessions, but actually, you know, whereas before you might have just sung the song, if you've got the words on screen, it's a huge conversation starter. A lot of the words aren't what you thought, or they raise other issues. And there's space for discussion between the songs that's usually lively. And we've all learned a lot from the other members of the group. And we turn to Google if there's a point in doubt. Another real strength, isn't it? You know, you're online, and if you've got someone like Barbara who's able to do it, it's brilliant. So the themes we've used nature themes, weather, fruit, flowers, film themes. We've met Doris Day and Bond themes, months of lockdown, and this week it's going to be harvest. And we're going to use, it's brilliant, isn't it? Because some of our group belong to other groups. Rachel's group have done a song. Oh, I've spoilt it now. If anybody's listening, they'll know what I'm going to do. Oh, I've spoilt the surprise. Never mind. There'll be another surprise coming. So keywords over the last 6 months have been learning, patience, collaboration, expecting the unexpected, touching moments and laughter. The running the Zoom sessions has taught to me you can never be sure that it's going to work. The initial sessions, I think you've all been there. Have I logged into the correct meeting? Or is everybody else waiting patiently in a virtual waiting room for another meeting? Checking the links and the emails is important. My internet connection was initially erratic, but now I use a wired connection which is more reliable, but you can't guard against some hazards, like when the road workers cut through the cable. It's not just me. Everyone in the group has needed to learn how to use Zoom and on different equipment, and this has been a huge achievement for us all. The important gains in technical knowledge are things like using the setting which says original sound on, which means that instruments can be heard much more clearly by the other Zoom users. Sharing sound before sharing screen makes a huge difference to the quality of shared recorded songs. And videos could come across jerky, so we use those with caution. Embedding the audios and videos into a PowerPoint presentation seems to improve the quality, and it makes delivery of the session more straightforward. Some people find it easier to follow the session if they've only got the speaker view on, rather than the more confusing multi-screen image. and some backgrounds can be distracting. Barbara's sporting this wonderful lime green one to cover up a very, very active cupboard behind her. And it's one of those things where if you discuss it with the group, you find out things. And we talked about this meeting with the group on Friday. So I'm reflecting some of the things they have learned and we've learned from them. That lag, you know, on Zoom is a real elephant in the room, isn't it? You can't sing together on Zoom. We've adapted around it. We do short singing phrases, that works, or a call and response where one person sings and then one or two sing back and the others are muted, or have everybody muted and only one person sings so that all can join in. And sometimes, of course, we just go for it and enjoy the cacophony of a happy birthday. It is vital to ask what people are seeing, what's working, what's not, because you never know exactly what the people the other side of the screen are seeing and hearing. There's something really quiet going on in Emma's screen at the moment, isn't there?
Peggy's just decided whether to get a huge log out of the log pile to play with, and I'm saying no.
Don't.
Oh, go on.
So, why our group works? Well, we reckon having two facilitators is really useful in case the worst happens and one of our connections just disappears, but also having someone able to listen to what's being delivered and flag up issues like an inaudible recording, and also to find questions, answers, you know, things which get raised in the middle of the session. And if I'm tied up doing the PowerPoint, then Barbara can still be responding with the group. And there are two of us to notice what's going well or what's not working well and what to do about that, and reflect on it. It means we've got the musical experience of the both of us when we're finding songs for the themes, but we've also got the immense experience of the group who give lots of ideas for the next week. And that's the other reason why the group works. It's the group. They're wholly involved with it. They know it's their group. Barbara and I facilitate, but it's their space and they have a lot to say about what happens in it. We think there may be several of the group in the audience, and we hope they recognise and agree with what we're describing. And I'm going to hand over to Barbara.
Barbara, you've got 1 minute now.
Oh, right, okay, I'll do a bit of speed reading then. Yeah.
Speak to your co-worker.
Thank you, Margaret. So, yes, I'm Barbara, and I'll give a Zoom assistance viewpoint here. Just briefly, prior to COVID, I had the privilege of facilitating face-to-face empowered conversation sessions. I've been involved in a small number of music sessions with people with dementia and carers, and I'm really excited to be working with Margaret and Claire on the innovative programme using music and movement. I've always been an active singer and performer and understand the benefits of music, and used to run rhythm time music classes for babies and toddlers and mums as well. I used music instinctively and extensively when caring for my own mother with dementia. So when the lovely Emma offered the opportunity to support Margaret's sessions, I jumped at it, understanding the value of that music to everyone and knowing how much I enjoy working with Margaret. So Margaret's already told you a lot about the session. Sorry?
Mutual.
Right, so let's have a look. Much like the session, my role has evolved, and although it's not absolutely necessary to have a second person helping facilitate, it is useful. Why? The call and response that Margaret was talking about, the leader and supporter can remain unmuted whilst the rest of the group are on mute, which means Margaret can sing the call and I can encourage and help the group with the response. Margaret, would you like to demonstrate?
Have we got time?
Yeah!
Abio,
Abio!
abeo,
Abeo!
abio, bio, bien, mama.
Abio, bio, bien, mama!
Abio, bio, bien, mama.
Abio, bio, bien, mama! So I hope anyone that was in the group that was listening joined in then. But you can see how the short phrases work on Zoom. And it's also useful to give confidence to the willing individuals who are happy to be unmuted for the response. So we're encouraging participation. I like to think of myself as a motivator to encourage the singing and the movement while Margaret's dealing with the tech. However, I can go overboard. You have to ask the group whether it works or not. I help Margaret with the research on the music. As she says, 2 heads are better than 1. And although we've always got suggestions from the group, with that we hopefully we get a good balance of eclectic material. I am the in-the-moment Googler, because we often get questions about the pieces. We have quite a challenging group who ask very challenging questions. So I quickly, like who's written it, who played on the track, and if I'm quick enough I can pretend I knew the answer, but generally not. I sometimes bring along little percussion instruments and occasionally random props to use in the can-can, encouraging a bit of show and tell and joining in. And I think, to be honest, I'm a bit badly behaved and disruptive, and I'm very sorry, Margaret. I can give immediate feedback to Margaret if the video isn't working, etc. I'm a second set of eyes, observing if someone wants to speak, or observing reactions to the group to inform the later sessions. I'm generally encouraging interaction and enjoyment. I'm a note taker as well, so Margaret and I can reflect on the session later, because we always want to improve them. What lessons have I learned? We've already talked about the need to mute during singing, and some people prefer it anyway, because you can just sing your little heart out and not worry about any judgment, as if you're in the shower. One thing I've noticed, I always try to get the light on my own face. What? I can see.
Just Jed, I knew where Jed was going with his head, and I was just doing that to Jed, like I'd done that to Peg, I'd done it to Jed.
No, just no. So yeah, Margaret, one of the things the group have said that reflections on glasses can be a bit of a distraction. So I always try to make sure the light's on my face, opposite the window, rather than my back to it. Because I actually think we need even more now to see each other's faces and reactions. We've got a very loose protocol for what people wanting to speak, either wanting to speak card or raising hands, but it doesn't always work. And anyway, we want it to be very natural and relaxed. So this is again where observation is crucial, to make sure that all the group are involved when they want to be. Margaret talked about lyrics on the screen. We're still perfecting that, and we're just going to try and experiment in a few things with the group. Chorus maybe, things like that. I tend during the session to sit quite a lot further back, sort of back here, so that more of the body shows, because it encourages the natural movement that goes with the music, and particularly useful for the exercises that we all know about. And it actually, I think, helps body language to be read more easily, rather than just your face. I tend to stay on full screen for your own good, because I get distracted by emails and things all over the place. I'm pondering, as you can see, on backgrounds at the moment, because whilst they can spark conversation, I also have a feeling that busy ones can be distracting. And Margaret said, behind me, it's terribly busy. So I'm just playing with that, and I'm sure I'll get feedback from people. It's not calmer, I realise that, it's just plainer. There's the usual group forming and norming going on, and even when some of the group know each other, it can still take time in a new setting, as Zoom is. I personally have learned a lot from the general chat and the research, and been introduced to new music, which is always a big plus. And it seems to me that even post-COVID, that these sessions could be a useful addition to, rather than an alternative to the famous face-to-face session. So in summary, if you're thinking of getting out and running similar sessions, I'd go forth and experiment with format and content, and hopefully we'll all learn new things from you too. And if I may, I'd like to just say it's been an absolute privilege to work with this group of people and get to know them. I'd like to say thank you to them for inviting us into their lives and their homes, and I hope that we make Friday afternoons in lockdown feel a little less locked down. That's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It feels like a really long time ago. I think it would have been March when we started having a conversation about whether we could do a singing group on Zoom. and we absolutely, what they've not said is that they were, as everybody on the screen, they just jumped into something that they weren't that familiar with, and that took quite a bit of courage, because actually, you know, you feel quite a lot of responsibility on your shoulders if the Zoom's not working right, or the music's not coming through, or you can't share your screen. And everybody on the screen has just sort of embraced that uncertainty and been courageous and just put themselves out there, which I think has been wonderful. So definitely Come and Sing was the first group that we started with. I think then Escape to the Disco was the second group that we went with. So Jed, you know, you've gone from a room full of women and men dancing away, having a good time in your past experience, and now you're sort of in the land of Zoom and running discos in the land of Zoom. And no, we certainly had a bit of fun in those first few weeks, just like working out the tech and working out how we could best use it. So what was your experience of running an online disco?
Very different. Can you hear me all right? Yes. Very different. I mean, obviously it's going from physical discos, as Emma said, with a room full of people to entertain, to trying to entertain people just on a computer screen. But we found with Zoom that it does work, because music, it's an old cliche, but it's a very good medicine. And especially for older people and people with dementia, we've found that the people who contact, like in their homes and people on their own, as soon as the music starts, they're starting to tap their feet, clap their hands, and then they get up dancing. So it's doing a bit of good. And especially with dementia people, we find that they sing along with the words. As soon as the song comes on, they start singing, and yet they probably can't really remember what happened earlier that day. So music has a real sort of magical appeal to everybody. And I'm glad that I'm doing this Zoom with Emma and her gang, because it's doing a worthwhile job, even though it's not quite the same as physically being with people. But yeah, I enjoy watching people enjoy themselves, and they certainly do.
And one of the things that we learned pretty easy, well, in fact, Margaret and Barbara learned it, and then they told us, was that sort of share your computer sound. That was very important if you want to run a disco, if you want to have some good music coming out. One of the things that you've not mentioned, Jed, is that the idea that we could create a virtual dance floor that would bring, especially for folk in the care home, that would bring family members together with people living in the care homes who perhaps are not seeing each other.
That's right. There's a couple like that, haven't we? You know, where at the end of my music session, we even make one of the people a host, so they can chat with their other half as well after the dancing, you know, to say hello and everything. So that's quite worthwhile. Yeah. And as for the dance floor, yeah, most people put up some coloured lights while the disco session's on, and I do as well, just behind my head. It's like a halo, you know, so it does suit me. And everybody, all right, Emma. Yeah, so yeah, we try and make it as disco-ish as possible. And it's not all disco music. I mean, obviously, people of different ages, you see, but mostly are elderly. So they like a bit of a disco and a bop, but obviously they get tired. So then I put a couple of slower ones on, and you can see them get up and have a little slow dance, you know, with a carer or another person in the home. So it's very rewarding. Yeah.
And we have a few, maybe like 3 or 4 care homes who come on. We have a couple of regular ones, and then we have a few people who come on from home. So it's quite a mix of people, but it works quite well, I think.
It does. It certainly does. Yeah, as I say, it's care homes are one of the best places to go, and dementia groups, because as soon as you put the music on, everybody's up dancing. You know, it's not like going to a private session where everybody has to be half canned before they put a foot on the dance floor. Oh, you know what I mean, dear Becky?
Yes.
She was nodding there. Yeah. So yeah, I got a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I'm really glad I started this Zoom with Emma. And I've got another new session with another group who will remain nameless at the moment, starting on Saturday. So that's a weekly session as well.
Fantastic. That's brilliant, Jed. And Jed, it's fair to say you've seen one of his wigs. He's got quite a few different wigs that that come on. So there's a different, every time he comes on, he looks a little bit different.
I usually have to wear them at weekend, but you know, for special occasion. I mean, the yellow one I had on before was supposed to be Dolly Parton, and I've got different coloured glasses as well to put on. I look the part.
I suppose that's that, as well as the music and having a dance, we're sort of aware that, you know, we're trying to give people a good time and trying to give them a bit of a giggle, and, you know, we'll do a funny dance, or we'll all bring our animals up to the screen. So they've seen all of, we met Bill and Ben yesterday, who were Jed's new guinea pigs.
My new guinea pigs, yeah. Oh, aye. Yeah.
My daughter comes on and she has a little dance. So it's very sort of, it's very fun and very engaging, but also that sort of, we really want to bring that connection in more. So that connection, so we have a husband and wife who connect on Zoom, and that's quite special, because I think there's something different about connecting on a music session than just the pressure of having a conversation with one another. So that can be really tricky. But we had mother and daughter who met, and the day before, the daughter had been to a group with me, and she'd said how she was really struggling to have a connection with her mum, and she was feeling really low about that. And the next day I spotted her on the disco, so I emailed her, said, your mum's on the disco. She came on, mum sort of started, she was sort of sleeping, but as soon as she knew that Anna was on the disco, oh my lord, she was for an entire hour she was engaged. She could only move her arms. She was in a seat, she couldn't stand, but she was moving her arms and dancing. She was sending kisses and virtual hugs to her daughter. Really, really sort of emotional stuff, and just the right time for her daughter, because she was really struggling that week. So,
towards the end of each session, I asked for requests as well for the following week, so they all look forward to hearing their request played. So, we had a few teething troubles, didn't we, Emma, at the beginning of the Zoom sessions, but I think everybody does. You know, it wasn't working at all, so it was about 10 minutes late starting, but I think we've got the knack now. Having touched wood, everything seems to be behaving itself, apart from me.
Yeah. And the fact that you're running another disco just shows your confidences of running an online disco, which is fantastic. Really, really good.
Never thought it would work as well as it has.
Good. And I know, like, we certainly look forward to, so obviously Margaret and Barbara, they work together on a session, and I'm sort of that extra person for all the other sessions. So when Rachel's delivering one, or Becky or Jed, then I'll be there as well. So I'm sort of there in support, really just having a good time, but also there in support if anybody wants to speak, or I notice something, or anything like that. So definitely reinforcing what Margaret and Barbara said about having two people on just helps you just keep an eye on what's going on, and that everyone's having a good time and an opportunity to share. So then the next one that came along was Storybox. So Rachel, can't even remember when it started. End of May, early June.
So I think we've been going for about, as I say, 15 weeks. I was looking at my diary. So we've been doing them 15 weeks, and our sessions with you were the very first ones that we did. You were our, like, the test one, if you like. So yeah, I think moving to online was it was one of those things where we kind of thought, how our sessions are very, special and unique, and we didn't want to just we weren't ever trying to just recreate that kind of thing but online, because we knew it would be different. There's things that we do in a session that you can't do online, but then also vice versa, the stuff that we can do online that we couldn't do in person. So it's there's been some really nice, I think, discoveries with using Zoom about what we can do and what is possible. There's lots of things that I don't think we would have, I think even doing stuff online, actually doing sessions online, it's not something that we would have done or explored before COVID. So yeah.
Brilliant. And if you had to give a tip to someone, so you're running quite a mixed creative session, I think that's fair to say what a Storybox session is. It's a bit of everything in the hope that those bits are going to connect with someone, or that someone's going to enjoy every single bit of those. So what if you had to give someone a tip who was thinking, I'm a creative, I'm thinking about putting this online, what would you say?
So I think in terms of like planning and I guess the technical side of things, I would do this with the non-sessionary, but I would always over plan, because some things people may, you know, really run with and really enjoy, but then you can also feel that something's not quite, you know, working. And each group because we now deliver groups, we've got you for one more week, and then we've got groups in Nottingham and Bolton as well. So stuff that works with one group might not necessarily work with another group. So having a really nice wide variety of different things that we can do, and then it's okay if we don't get through everything. Like, that's fine. So always over plan. That's what I'd always say. And just try and be creative about what you can do, like with your box. Like some of the things that we've kind of been able to do is, so we did one session, we created our own walk of fame. So we all had a star, like I emailed a template over, but some people just drew it themselves, which was fantastic. And then we were all able to like hold them up to the screen. And then I can screenshot that and all the technical side of it. So like we could do stuff like that. We created our own allotments. So everyone's drawn an allotment, you know, I send over a template and then everyone could draw in their own vegetables or hold them up to the screen. So like, yeah, we were able to screenshot that, so it looks like we've got an allotment, which is quite nice. You know, there's things like that. And yeah, I think it's all like thinking, you know, I think Barbara sort of mentioned about your background as well. Like, I'm very lucky in a sense that I've got a nice blank wall, and I remember on the first like few Zoom meetings I had like with like some of the people in like a Storybox, and I just remember kept looking at the wall behind me and thinking, I can do something with that, like something can be done with that. So as you like, sometimes I'll stick a big piece of paper up and we'll draw, like we'll gather responses and stuff as well. So yeah, so thinking over plan. Think about what you can do with your Zoom window, and like your background and stuff as well, really. Yeah, and try not make things like the running of it, I guess, perfect. You mentioned it before, Emma, about when something cut down, because I know one of our sessions very early on, I was doing something and everything just disappeared. I was screen sharing as I pressed something, everything disappeared. And I think I did quite well at keeping my calm, but it was quite good because I was able to, like my colleague was able to just kind of be like, it's okay, and, you know, carried on and stuff. But it really threw me off. But then afterwards, when we were like reflecting on it, it's like, we're all human, you know, this is technology, but we can only do what we can with it. So yeah, so if that happens, do try not to panic.
I think
they can't get technology right on TV, can they, Rachel? No. Never mind us, you know, learners on Zoom.
And I think it's fair to say that we all have very forgiving audiences who will, you know, they know that we're working from home, that the dog might do this, or someone might walk in, or you might just lose something, and that's so. Once you know that, once you get it in your head, you've got that confidence. You're like, oh, you're just calmer about it. And if something doesn't quite work, you go, oh, wait a second, I'll make it work. And I was smiling there, Becky, because you had a big grin on your face when you said about technology not working. Because certainly at the beginning, like you're like a techno expert now, but at the beginning it was a bit wobbly and you would get a little bit stressed.
Very, yes. Yes, very stressed, yes. Do you want me to answer that, or do you want me to, are we still on Rachel? Or
no, we've moved on. We were on
thanks.
Now.
Okay.
I segued across. Could you not see my segue there?
smooth link there.
Oh, I'm just too polite. That's my problem. Well, I mean, I would never, I have to be honest, have thought about doing any kind of Zoom, Skype, that whole thing. No, not really. Especially as we're a very interactive place. So I don't know how would you link that? You know, it's quite difficult. So I would never have contemplated it. And then, excuse me, during lockdown, I was on Facebook and I was just kind of like doing the usual link things. And Rachel, who works with Emma, had put a note on saying, we need an animal, a Zoom bomb animal or something like that. And I went, oh, yeah, that would be good. So I kind of said, yeah, I'll do it, and just put it out there. And then Rachel actually replied and said, yes, please. So I thought, oh, okay, what have I done? I've opened my mouth as usual and got myself into trouble. So from then, actually, I sort of walked away from this post I said and thought, well, you know, could we do that? Is that possible? And it sort of rolled on, and Emma and I had a conversation, a good conversation about actually, could it work? What could we create? What could we call it? Because although our place is Lower House Sensory Farm, because our house is called Lower House Farm, we're not officially a farm. We don't have a tractor. But that kind of, I'm more of a small holding. So I didn't want to give the impression that we were going to be on a farm. So we had to think about lots of stuff. And I think that's definitely one, if we're thinking about maybe lessons to be learned or advice, it's lateral thinking, you know, really work out, step out of the box, really think and be creative about what we're going to do here. Because it's got to be interactive, it's got to be almost a virtual two-way session. There would be nothing worse than looking at your audience or participation, and thinking, wow, they're really bored here. So it's really important to try and make it the content interesting, interaction to occur as much as possible, get people involved. And I really like to hear what people have got to say. I know I talk a lot, but I do stop and listen to people. And you know, it's really important, whether it's a facial expression, whether it's somebody just going to vaguely raise their hand, really be aware of what people want from you as well. Completely agree with Rachel, over plan. Totally over plan. And I as the weeks have gone on, so I've been extremely fortunate to have this opportunity with Emma and a team. And in the very, very beginning, I got very stressed, I must admit, quite tense, you know, how's it going to go, because I'm working with animals. And I over planned a lot. I exactly agree with you, Rachel. It's better to have more content than not enough. So lots of lesson planning. The other issue has, because we're very rurally based, our Wi-Fi is not, we're on a good Wi-Fi, but I had to work out where I was going to, is it broadcast? Would that be the word? I don't know, from. And because we're dealing with animals, I set up all sorts of technology. So long wires on extension cables to go into bull pits that are in the barns next door. It's rained, so I've had carrier bags over electricity and all sorts, just in the hope that we'll get through this. And also with animals, we've been ponies in the stables, and obviously you have to really, really think, not only safety, but how to really ensure this is going to work. Wi-Fi and a computer that works, that can cope with it. Because I had a few incidents where the computers I was using just went, no, I can't deal with all that information. So definitely bear that in mind as well. And also what I started to do was actually, because our I couldn't sort of broadcast from all the way around the small holding. I did some pre-recorded videos, and what I felt would be nice, so we shared the screen and I kind of talked over, and I said, I want to take you on a journey. We were doing hens as a session, and I said, I'd like to take you on a journey of how we look after the hens every day. So we kind of watched how we walk, and we opened up the hen hut together. So it was almost like being part of the process, and we fed the hens. We've done stuff like we've had pigs, and we've been looking at varieties of pigs, and pigs have been in with me, which was quite interesting. And we've also, intrigued to hear about the allotment drawing as well, because I have polytunnels, so we've sown seeds together. We've shared what veg we've grown. So, I've asked people, bring some stuff with you next time. Props are really always massively important. And each time I've said, whatever theme it is, we had lambs one time, anything that's wool, something knitted or scarf or whatever. So that really interaction, I think, is hopefully, I hope, is what we managed to achieve. I think the other thing is just eventually I worked out that if you just relax actually it probably is all fine, rather than really just sweating a bit. But so just relax, you know, go with the flow. Absolutely. And don't overthink things. I felt as we got more into it, don't overthink it. You know, what's really important here is who we're together with, and it's for them. So let's make sure that they're getting what they want out of it. And the other thing actually with the videos, if you do decide to use any pre-recorded, make sure you always come back to your participants. So I know everybody who's watching us on the moment are here and has been involved in my sessions. I often would say, what do you think? You know, are you still with me? How did you feel about that scene? We watched a lamb being born. You know, there was some quite interesting stuff when we did milking on our last session. Which was a lot of videos, but I just wanted to make sure that actually, are you still with me? Are you still interested? What do you want to ask? What can I help you out with things? So yeah, and lots of explaining what I'm doing as well, and why this is happening, why we have these. So I think probably, I think that's really great. And on the back of this, another dementia support group I've been working with, which possibly may have someone from here. So absolutely enjoyed that totally. And I've also got some funding to continue to provide these sessions. So I'm utterly delighted by it. Absolutely. So from the community fund. So it's just been an incredible journey, and I love it. Absolutely love it. That's me.
Thank you, Becky. And like, everybody's sessions are amazing, but there was something about being on Becky's session where you were with the animals, or you were outside, or she was showing you a film, and strangely you did feel like you'd been there. You felt like you'd been away for an hour and then come back to your room. So it just worked so well. And like, Becky's had to deal with like massive, like one day she just had loads of midges.
Oh, it was awful.
Trying to present, and she's like, midges, and then she's getting a daughter to spray her. I just sat at home.
Oh, it was dreadful. And I had a cap on because it was so bright as well, but it was humid. You know, that humid, and there's not enough airflow, kind of, you know what I mean, Jed? And it kind of like, you're outside, and I was being annihilated. And literally I had lumps all over my face. But, and I tried to make it unobvious, but I kept on going, because daughters have sometimes helped out. Quick spray, please. Oh, it was dreadful. And lambs not doing what you want them to, animals not doing what you want them to, or you think they should. And speaking of animals, I did actually bring two small tortoises that we use on the centre farm as well. So we part of interacting. So when people have come along, love to actually hold a tortoise. Some people haven't held a tortoise, so I'll just lift them up to the screen. So we have two little tortoises. I think Joy looks like impressed with that. But so these are our Mediterranean tortoises. I'll put one down, and I'll put the male down. This is Hilda. So she's our Mediterranean tortoise. Herman tortoise is the official title. So she's about 5 years old. They're just lovely, and it's just so fantastic to, whether we're doing this virtually or people are here, just to either stroke a tortoise, to look at, I mean, they've got the most interesting shells ever. Look at the legs, you know, they're just incredible. Brilliant little additions to the Centre Farm. So I thought I'd share that on our webinar for you.
We did have some Zoom magic, because Joy's also got a tortoise. So for anyone watching, it looked like Becky had passed the tortoise to Joy, because Becky had held them and then Joy had one, and we were like, what? How did that happen? Just worked so well,
wasn't it?
So
I remember when tortoises used to be 7 and 6pence from a pet shop. Bit different now.
Oh yeah. Oh totally. Yes. Oh, thank you, Joy. Absolutely. Oh. Yeah, totally. You have to have a license, and my friend breeds them, so we bought them off my friend, but you know, that was a bit of an investment in itself. But and they are written for our children to have as family heirlooms, because they're only 5 years old. We've got a long way to go.
Thank you, Becky, and thanks everyone. So we've got a few questions here, or comments. So Martin has said, thanks, Jed. I know you've responded, but I'm just going to open it up to everyone. Do you think the sessions are so successful because they are informal? Do you think that's what makes our sessions successful, because of that sort of informality?
Yeah. Because they don't appear too professional, for want of a better word. People can relate to us because we don't come over like politicians or TV producers and things like that. You know, we all seem like normal people-ish. You know, I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
You can have a laugh, can't you? You know, like
Yeah.
you and especially when you get after doing the sessions, you do get to know people and you know everyone's quirks and what things people might like as well. So like you know what people might bring a smile to someone's face, I guess. So it's
And I think also we probably all make it like just like having a conversation together, you know, a relaxed conversation. So that's probably why it can be so informal.
Yeah, nothing scripted, so you never know what's going to happen next or what people are going to ask you. Or,
You definitely don't. Rachel has said, can we get info on these groups to join, please? Yeah, so Rachel, what I'll do is you'll get an email tomorrow with some details of our next seminar, and I'll include some details in there. Alison from Bolton has said, hi Becky, hi Rachel. Great to see you both again. Bolton Dementia Support, absolutely loved all the sessions that you did. The feedback was epic. That's fantastic. And then our very own Rachel has said, I've attended these amazing magical sessions. They are a great way to connect and have fun in these difficult times. Well done to you all. And I think it's fair to say that, you know, like we've sort of pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone. So Amanda every Tuesday puts on a pink hat and bounces on a giant ball for an hour dancing. So we've
that's what she's doing.
I mean, who would have thought that someone would do that? That's it. Right, I'm just going to open the polls for everyone. So, right, I'm opening. Oh, sorry, it says John Zeisel. Ignore that on the top. It's a conversation with this lot, not John Zeisel. Apologies, everyone. So, we've only got a few minutes left, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew about our next seminar, but I'm just going to hold off on that. Is there a top tip that you've not shared that you want to share in the last minute? Shout out if there is.
Yeah, I think something that I kind of think Becky touched on about like having like this bringing things. That's something that we usually do take a lot of sensory stuff sometimes to sessions, but actually inviting people to bring stuff with them, it's quite amazing how actually excited everyone is to bring it and show you what they've brought, and it just adds another level of participation and engagement that I didn't expect, and I think it's a really lovely thing to do. So definitely use what's around the home. Don't have to necessarily go out and find things, but yeah, there's getting people to bring things can help with the I keep pointing at the engagement.
I think we'd second that, wouldn't we, Margaret? Because we've had instruments brought in and all sorts of things. So a bit of show and tell and playing with them. Yes, that's really good. Yeah.
And I think across, I know the themes have worked well. So like a theme session. So I know Becky, you have themes. You all have themes. Jed, I know we had a summer theme, didn't we? Maybe we need to think of a theme for our next disco. We've not really thought about one, but we certainly did a summer theme. And I think just having those themes to hang everything on has worked really well. So I just want to say a massive thank you to you all for coming on today's session. I want to say an even bigger thank you for joining us on this treacherous Zoom path that you've all jumped on, and you just, you know, you've really made such a massive difference to people's lives, you know, and that was the first 6 months, and we've got another 6 months, so we will continue to do that, and we, you know, watch this space for more sessions coming on. We've got another seminar with the wonderful Barbara Lewis on the 14th of October. Barbara, do you want to very quickly in 30 seconds say what it is?
I'm going to be talking about, I mentioned I cared for my mum, And all the way through, it was about curiosity. Why is she doing that? What's happening? Where? And where that led me, and the answers it led me to. And it actually led me to be really creative. So that's the sort of thing I'm going to be talking about. Yeah.
Brilliant. And that's on the 14th of October. Sorry, who was going to say something?
I was going to say, you might see what's behind the green cloth then, mightn't you?
Oh, yes.
Got the green door. I know we'll know that song.
The round window.
Wonderful. So thank you, everyone. It's 3 o'clock. I think I've said, we've got another few sessions coming up as well. So we've got Barbara's, but we've also got Age UK Sheffield who are going to come up in October, and some others. And if anyone who's watching thinks, I'd quite like to do a seminar, then you can see the level of professionalism showed today. So that's where you need to get to. So if you feel that you are at that level, then obviously contact me. And I just want to say a massive thanks. Everyone stayed on. All the participants are still here, which is always a good sign. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm going to say goodbye now.
Thank you very much.
Bye,
Absolutely
thank
brilliant.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers,
Thank you.
everyone.